The message arrived at 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday that felt like any other Tuesday until it wasn't. Emergency, St. Mary's Hospital, room 304. Come now. I stared at my phone screen, reading Megan's text 3 times before my brain processed the words. My wife never texted like that. She used full sentences, proper punctuation, emoji hearts at the end. This was different. Wrong. I grabbed my jacket and ran. Traffic crawled like it always does when you need it not to. Every red light lasted an eternity. I called Megan twice. No answer. My mind conjured 100 scenarios, each worse than the last. Car accident, heart attack, cancer. The word cancer echoed in my head like the end. St. Mary's loomed ahead, its gray concrete walls promising nothing good. I parked crooked, didn't care, sprinted through the automatic doors. The receptionist pointed me toward the elevators without me asking. Maybe panic showed on my face. Room 304 sat at the end of a long hallway that smelled like antiseptic and despair. I pushed through the door. Megan sat on the examination table, fully dressed, looking healthy. Not bleeding, just sitting there with her phone in her hands, not looking at me. Jesus, Megan! What happened? Are you okay? She didn't answer. A man in a white coat turned from the counter. Dr. Owen Harris. I recognized him from hospital functions, tall, graying temples, expensive watch. The kind of doctor who smiled too much. Mr. Davis, he said, thank you for coming so quickly. What's going on? Is she hurt? Your wife is fine physically, Dr. Harris said, and something in his tone made my stomach drop. But we've discovered something concerning during her routine examination. Megan finally looked at me. Her eyes were red but dry. Jack, I need you to stay calm. Those 5 words, I should have known right then. We found evidence of a sexually transmitted infection, Dr. Harris continued, his voice clinical, detached. Specifically, chlamydia. It's treatable, but we need to discuss how this happened. The room tilted. What? It's a mistake, Megan said quickly. It has to be. The lab must have mixed up samples or something. Tell him, Owen. Tell him how often that happens. Owen. She called him Owen. Dr. Harris cleared his throat. Lab errors are rare, but they do occur. We'll run another test to confirm. I looked between them. Megan's hands twisted together in her lap. Dr. Harris wouldn't meet my eyes. The silence stretched too long. How long have you known him? I asked Megan. What? Jack, don't be ridiculous. He's my doctor. You called him Owen. That's his name. You've never mentioned him before. Dr. Harris stepped forward. Mr. Davis, I understand this is shocking news, but accusations won't help anyone. Let's focus on treatment and... Get out, I said. Excuse me? You heard me. Get out. I want to talk to my wife alone. His jaw tightened. This is my examination room. Then we'll leave. I grabbed Megan's arm. She pulled away. Jack, stop. You're being paranoid. Am I? I looked at her. Really looked. The new perfume she'd been wearing, the late nights at conferences, the way she'd stopped touching me 6 months ago, claiming stress, exhaustion, too much work. Am I being paranoid, Megan? She stood, smoothed her skirt. I'm not doing this here. We'll talk at home. No, we'll talk now. Mr. Davis, Dr. Harris said, I'm going to have to ask you to lower your voice or I'll call security. I laughed. Actually laughed. The sound came out wrong, jagged. Perfect. Call them. Call them and explain why my wife has an STD and you're so eager to defend her. Megan's face went pale. Jack, please. How long? I asked her. How long have you been sleeping with him? You're insane, she hissed. You're actually insane. But she didn't deny it. That's what I noticed. In all her protests, all her deflections, she never once said the words, I didn't cheat on you. I left. Walked out of that room, down that hallway, through those automatic doors, got in my car and sat there, hands shaking on the steering wheel, unable to start the engine. My phone buzzed. A text from Megan. "Come home. We need to talk like adults." I didn't go home. I drove to my office, a small IT consulting firm where I'd worked for 12 years. The building was mostly empty. I went to my desk, logged into my computer, and did what I do best. I started digging. Megan thought I was just an IT guy. She thought my job was fixing computers and installing software. She didn't understand that IT professionals see everything, every login, every file, every digital footprint people think they've erased. I started with her laptop. She'd left it at home, password protected, thinking that was enough. It took me 20 minutes to bypass her security. Amateur stuff. Her email loaded. I felt dirty reading it, like I was violating something sacred. Then I saw the first message from Dr. Owen Harris, dated 8 months ago. "Dinner was perfect. You were perfect. I can't stop thinking about you." My hands went numb. I scrolled, found dozens more, hundreds, photos attached. Some I closed immediately, others I forced myself to look at, burning the images into my memory as evidence, as fuel. But it wasn't just Dr. Harris. There were others. Michael from her office. David from the gym. Names I didn't recognize. Conversations that made my stomach turn. My wife, the woman I'd loved for 15 years, reduced to text messages and secret meetings and lies upon lies upon lies. I found calendar entries marked lunch meeting that corresponded with hotel charges on our credit card. I found receipts for lingerie I'd never seen her wear. I found a whole separate bank account I didn't know existed, funded by cash withdrawals from our joint account. Small amounts, $50 or $100 at a time, adding up to thousands over the years. The apartment door opened around midnight. Megan came in, saw me sitting in the dark with her laptop. "Open." "What are you doing?" Her voice sharp, accusing, like I was the one who'd done something wrong. "Reading," I said, very educational. She lunged for the laptop. I closed it, held it away. "Don't." "That's private, Jack. You have no right." "No right?" I stood. "I have no right? I'm your husband. That doesn't give you permission to invade my privacy." The absurdity made me laugh again. That same broken sound. "Your privacy. Right. Tell me, Megan, how many men have you been with in the last year?" She slapped me. Hard. My cheek stung. "How dare you talk to me like that?" I touched my face, felt wet where the tooth had cut my mouth. "Answer the question." "I don't have to explain myself to you. Actually, you do. You're my wife. We took vows." "Vows." She spat the word. "You want to talk about vows? What about your vow to make me happy, to give me the life I deserved? You're a 43-year-old IT worker making $60,000 a year. Jack. 60,000. Do you know how embarrassing that is when my colleagues ask what my husband does?" The words hit like physical blows. "So this is my fault? You cheated because I don't make enough money?" "I cheated because you're boring. Because you're safe and predictable and you never take risks. Because every day with you is exactly the same as the day before. Do you know what that's like? To slowly die of boredom?" I should have felt devastated. Should have cried or begged or fought to save our marriage. Instead, I felt nothing. A vast, cold nothing that spread through my chest like ice water. "Get out," I said quietly. "What?" "Get out of this apartment now. This is my home too. Get out, or I send these emails to your boss, your mother, and everyone in your contact list. Your choice." Her face twisted with rage. "You wouldn't dare." I opened the laptop, fingers poised over the keyboard. Try me. She grabbed her purse, her coat, stopped at the door. You'll regret this, Jack. I'll take everything. The apartment, the savings, everything. You'll end up alone with nothing. I'm already alone, I said. And nothing is exactly what I have. She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the walls. I sat back down, opened the laptop, and continued reading. Not out of masochism, out of necessity. If I was going to war, I needed to know my enemy. The deeper I dug, the worse it got. Megan had been systematically lying to me for at least 2 years, maybe longer. She'd created elaborate cover stories, enlisted friends to provide alibis, even faked business trips that were actually weekend getaways with her lovers. I found a burner phone hidden in her gym bag. The messages on it made the emails look tame. Explicit photos, detailed plans, conversations about me, about what an idiot I was, how pathetic, how easy to fool. One message from Dr. Harris stood out. Does he suspect anything? Megan's response, Jack, please. He barely notices I exist. Too busy with his computers and his video games, I could bring someone home, and he probably wouldn't even look up. They'd been laughing at me, all of them. For months, maybe years, the cold nothing in my chest transformed into something else, something harder, sharper. I called in sick to work for 3 days. Didn't sleep. Barely ate. Just compiled evidence, built spreadsheets, created timelines. My apartment became a command center, papers and printouts covering every surface. I documented everything, every affair, every lie, every dollar she'd stolen from our joint account, every fake business trip. I built a case like I was preparing for trial because, in a way, I was. Victor showed up on the 3rd day. I hadn't called him, but he came anyway. That's what best friends do, even when you haven't spoken in 2 years. You look like hell, he said, standing in my doorway. Come in. He surveyed the chaos, the coffee cups, the documents everywhere. Victor had been a detective before a bullet ended his career and started his private investigation business. He knew obsession when he saw it. What are you doing, Jack? Research. About what? I handed him a folder. He read in silence, his expression darkening with each page. Jesus, he muttered. Your wife is... Careful, I warned. Whatever word you're about to use, I've already thought it. How long have you known? 3 days. Feels like 3 years. Victor sat down, pushed aside a stack of printouts. What do you want to do about it? Destroy them. Them? All of them, especially Dr. Harris. He took an oath. First, do no harm. He harmed me. Jack, listen to me carefully. Whatever you're planning, don't. Get a lawyer. File for divorce. Move on with your life. Move on? I looked at him. Move on like nothing happened. Like 15 years meant nothing. Yes, exactly like that. Because the alternative is you ending up in jail or worse. I'm not going to get rid of anyone, Victor. I'm not crazy. Then what? I showed him my plan, watched his face change from concern to reluctant admiration to horror. It was comprehensive. I'd identified every person involved in Megan's web of lies. Dr. Harris, obviously, but also the friends who'd provided alibis, the colleagues who'd covered for her, the people who'd known and said nothing. For each person, I'd found their vulnerabilities, tax issues, hidden relationships, professional misconduct, small crimes they thought were buried. Everyone has secrets. I just had to find them. This is extensive, Victor said finally, and probably illegal in several ways. Only if I get caught. Jack, you don't have to help. I'm not asking you to, but don't try to stop me. Victor studied me for a long moment. You've changed. In 3 days, You've become someone I don't recognize. Good. The old Jack Davis was a fool. He trusted people, believed in things like loyalty and love. The new Jack Davis knows better. The new Jack Davis is going to self-destruct. Maybe, but I'm taking them with me. He stood up to leave, but stopped at the door. I understand it's not worth it. If someone did this to me, I'd want it too. But Jack, make sure revenge is worth the price, because it will cost you everything. I don't have anything left to lose. That's what worries me. After he left, I returned to my planning. I'd start with Dr. Harris. He was the biggest target, the most to lose. Once I destroyed him, the others would be easy. Dr. Owen Harris had a problem. Several problems, actually, but he didn't know it yet. I started small. Anonymous complaints filed with the medical board about inappropriate relationships with patients. Nothing provable, just enough to start an investigation. The medical board takes such complaints seriously, especially when they're detailed and specific. I knew when to file them, right after Harris had seen certain patients, making it look like the patients themselves had reported him. The timing was crucial. Too obvious and they'd dismiss it as vindictive. Too vague and they'd ignore it. Then I hacked his hospital email account. Not through sophisticated means. I didn't need to be sophisticated. Harris used the same password for everything. His wife's name, plus the year they got married. Linda 2012. Took me 3 tries to guess it. His email was a gold mine. Affairs with patients, yes, but also falsified medical records to cover up mistakes during procedures. Kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies in exchange for prescribing specific medications. Insurance fraud. The man was a walking ethics violation. I compiled everything into a neat package, organized it chronologically, added a cover letter explaining what each document showed, made it impossible to misunderstand or dismiss. Then I sent it to the local news station. Not the main news desk. They get thousands of tips daily. I sent it directly to an investigative reporter named Sarah Chen, who'd won awards for exposing medical fraud. I'd researched her work. She was thorough, relentless, and hungry for stories that mattered. I also sent copies to the hospital administrator, the state medical board, and the district attorney's office. Couldn't risk one of them burying it. The final copy went to Linda Harris, the doctor's wife. I'd found Linda on social media. She posted frequently, pictures of her garden, her grandchildren, inspirational quotes about family and faith. 32 years of marriage she'd written on their last anniversary. 32 years with my best friend. She deserved to know what kind of man her best friend actually was. I sent her everything. Every email, every photo, every piece of evidence that her husband had been systematically betraying her for years. The explosion happened on a Thursday morning. I watched from my car as Harris arrived at the hospital to find reporters waiting. Cameras, microphones, questions shouted from every direction. Dr. Harris, is it true you had relationships with multiple patients? Dr. Harris, can you comment on allegations of insurance fraud? Dr. Harris, did you falsify medical records? His face cycled through confusion, panic, rage. He tried to push past them. Security intervened. The whole scene played out like something from a movie, except it was real, and I'd orchestrated every moment. His face on the evening news looked exactly how I'd imagined. Panicked, desperate, caught. The hospital suspended him pending investigation. His wife filed for divorce that same day. I know, because I was monitoring the county clerk's website, refreshing obsessively. The medical board opened a formal inquiry, and I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no triumph, just the cold certainty that this was only the beginning. Megan called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. Let every call go to voicemail. listened to her messages, each one more frantic than the last. Jack, what did you do? Jack, please, we need to talk about this. Jack, Owen's life is ruined. His career, his marriage, everything. Jack, I know this is you. I know it. Finally, she showed up at my apartment at 11 p.m., pounding on the door hard enough that Mrs. Patterson next door shouted for us to keep it down. I opened the door. Megan looked terrible. Mascara streaked down her face, hair disheveled, her expensive suit wrinkled like she'd been wearing it for days. What did you do? She demanded, pushing past me into the apartment. Be specific. I've done a lot lately. Owen, his career is destroyed, his marriage, everything. Oh no, I said flatly. How terrible. You did this, I know you did. Prove it. She saw the evidence still spread across my desk, walked over, started rifling through papers. Her hands shook. You've been spying on me? For how long? Does it matter? This is insane. You're destroying people's lives. No, Megan, I'm revealing the truth. There's a difference. She grabbed a stack of papers, read the top page. Her face went white. Where did you get these? Your email, your text messages, your cloud storage, your secret bank account, your burner phone. Should I continue? You hacked my accounts. That's illegal. So is adultery in this state. Want to compare charges? She threw the papers at me. They scattered across the floor like accusations. You're not the man I married. Good. That man was an idiot who trusted his wife. I want a divorce. Already filed, Tuesday morning. You'll be served tomorrow. Her mouth opened and closed. You what? Filed for divorce. 3 days ago. I'm citing adultery with evidence. New York is a fault state, Megan. You'll get nothing. Not the apartment, not the savings, nothing. Just your debts and your reputation. You bastard. Yes, I am. Took me 15 years to figure it out, but here we are. She started to cry. Real tears this time, not the manipulative ones she'd used so often. Jack, please, we can fix this. We can go to counseling, work through it. No. Please. I made mistakes, I know, but we can still… You didn't make mistakes, Megan. You made choices. You chose to cheat. You chose to lie. You chose to steal from our joint account to fund your affairs. Those weren't mistakes. They were decisions. Jack, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. Yes, you did. You meant every bit of it. You just didn't mean to get caught. Her face crumpled. What happened to you? You used to be kind. Kindness is what weak people use when they're too scared to fight back. I'm not weak anymore. You're not strong. You're just cruel. Then we're perfect for each other. She left, finally. Walked out sobbing, leaving the door open behind her. I closed it, locked it, went back to my desk. 4 more names on my list. 4 more people who'd known about the affairs and said nothing. Friends who weren't friends. Colleagues who'd laughed behind my back. They were next. Michael from Megan's office was first. I'd found emails where he'd helped cover for her, providing alibis when she'd been out with Dr. Harris or others. Michael had his own secrets, though. He'd been embezzling from client accounts for 2 years, small amounts he thought no one would notice. I sent an anonymous tip to his firm's compliance department with copies of account statements showing the discrepancies. 3 days later, he was fired. A week after that, arrested. David from the gym went next, the personal trainer who'd slept with my wife between sessions with other clients. He'd been running a steroid distribution ring out of the gym's storage room. One anonymous call to the DEA, and his operation was shut down. He faced federal trafficking charges. Sarah Mitchell, Megan's best friend and primary alibi provider, had been falsifying expense reports at her job for years. I sent evidence to her employer. She was terminated and required to pay back $40,000 in fraudulent expenses. One by one, I dismantled the circle of people who'd enabled my wife's betrayal. Each one deserved what happened. They'd made their choices. Now, they lived with consequences. But something was changing in me. Each victory felt emptier than the last. The satisfaction I'd expected never came. Just a hollow sense of completion, like checking items off a grocery list. Erica Parker, my co-worker, stopped by my cubicle one morning. I'd been back at work for a week, going through the motions, avoiding conversations. "Jack, can we talk?" "Busy. It's important." I looked up. Erica was 32, smart, kind, the type of person who brought homemade cookies to the office and remembered everyone's birthdays. She'd been worried about me since the separation. "What?" "People are talking about you, about what's happening to everyone connected to Megan." "Let them talk." "Jack, some of these things, they seem coordinated, like someone is deliberately targeting these people. Maybe they all just had bad luck. 5 people, all in the same month, all connected to your wife?" She lowered her voice. "Jack, I'm worried about you." "Don't be. I'm fine." "You're not fine. You look like you haven't slept in weeks. You barely eat. You're angry all the time." "Wouldn't you be angry if your spouse cheated on you with multiple people for years?" "Yes, I'd be furious. But I wouldn't systematically destroy everyone involved. That's not anger, Jack. That's something else." "What is it then?" "I don't know, but it scares me." She walked away before I could respond. I sat there, staring at my computer screen, her words echoing in my head. What was I becoming? My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. "Mr. Davis? This is Detective Patricia Morrison with NYPD. I'd like to ask you some questions about Dr. Owen Harris." "What about him, ma'am?" "Can you come down to the station? It's just routine." Nothing is just routine when police want to talk to you. "When?" "Today, if possible. Say 2 p.m. I looked at my calendar. Had a meeting with a client. Didn't matter. "I'll be there." "Excellent. Ask for me at the front desk." She hung up. I sat very still, mind racing. What did they know? What could they prove? I'd been careful, meticulous, but careful wasn't perfect. I called Victor. "Don't say anything," he answered. "Whatever it is, don't say anything." "Police want to talk to me." "About?" "Dr. Harris." Silence. Then, "Get a lawyer, now. Don't go to that station without representation." "I can't afford a lawyer, Victor." "Then don't go. They'll just arrest me if I don't cooperate." "Maybe, maybe not. But if you go in there alone, you're giving them ammunition." "I haven't done anything illegal." "Haven't you? Hacking accounts, filing false reports. Depending on how they frame it, you could be charged with cybercrimes, harassment, maybe more." He was right, but refusing to cooperate would make me look guilty. "I'll go," I decided. "I'll listen to what they have to say. I won't admit anything." "Jack, thanks for the advice, Victor." I hung up before he could argue further. Detective Morrison was exactly what I expected. Mid-50s, gray hair, cut short, eyes that had seen every type of lie humanity could manufacture. She led me to a small, windowless room and gestured to a metal chair bolted to the floor. "Thank you for coming in, Mr. Davis. Can I get you coffee, water?" "I'm fine." She sat across from me, opened a manila folder. "You know Dr. Owen Harris?" "Yes." "How?" "He was my wife's doctor." "Was?" "We're separated. Divorcing." "I see. And when did you last see Dr. Harris?" I thought carefully. 3 weeks ago, at St. Mary's Hospital." "What was the nature of that meeting?" "He told me my wife had an STD. Morrison's expression didn't change. "Must have been quite a shock." "Yes?" Did you and Dr. Harris have any confrontations? Arguments? No. I asked him to leave the room so I could talk to my wife alone. That's all. Really? Your wife cheats on you with her doctor, gives you an STD scare, and you didn't argue with him? I was too shocked to argue. She made a note. Dr. Harris has made some serious accusations against you, Mr. Davis. What kind of accusations? He claims you've been harassing him. Anonymous calls, emails, threats. I leaned back. That's ridiculous. Is it? Because shortly after your encounter, several damaging stories about Dr. Harris became public, stories that ruined his career and marriage. His medical license was suspended. His wife filed for divorce. Quite a coincidence. Life is full of coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences, Mr. Davis. Sounds like a personal problem, Detective. Her eyes hardened. Where were you on the night of October 15th? At home. Can anyone verify that? No, I live alone now. Convenient. What happened on October 15th? Someone broke into Dr. Harris's home and vandalized it, destroyed property worth thousands of dollars, spray-painted threats on his walls. I sat up straighter. That wasn't me. No? Because the threats were very specific. They referenced medical procedures, patient names, details only someone with access to Harris's files would know. I didn't break into his house. But you did access his files, didn't you? Trap. Obvious trap. But I'd almost walked into it anyway. I want a lawyer, I said. Morrison smiled, not a friendly smile. Interesting timing for that request. Am I under arrest? Not yet. Then I'm leaving. I stood. She didn't stop me. But as I reached the door, she said, "We're watching you, Mr. Davis. Whatever vendetta you're pursuing, whatever revenge fantasy you're living out, it ends now. Or you'll end up in a cell. Your choice." I walked out without responding. My hands shook as I got to my car. Someone had broken into Harris's house. Someone had vandalized his property. Someone was making my careful, calculated revenge look sloppy and criminal. Someone was trying to frame me. I drove straight home and spent the next 4 hours going through my security measures, checked my computer logs, my router history, my email accounts, my phone records, everything, looking for signs of intrusion, of someone piggybacking on my work. Found nothing. My systems were clean. No unauthorized access. No suspicious activity, which meant the vandalism was separate from my campaign. Either Harris had other enemies, entirely possible given what I'd uncovered, or someone was deliberately trying to make me look guilty. Megan. Had to be Megan. She knew what I'd been doing. She'd seen the evidence in my apartment. She could have broken into Harris's house, made it look like my work, set me up to take the fall. I called her. She answered on the first ring. "Jack, are you okay? I heard the police questioned you. Did you break into Harris's house?" "What? No! Why would I?" To frame me. To make me look like the bad guy while you play the victim. That's paranoid, Jack. I would never. You've done everything else. Why not this? Because I'm not a criminal. Unlike you. Me? Yes, you, destroying Owen's career, turning everyone against me, hacking my accounts. You earned all of that, Megan. Every single consequence. I made mistakes. I'm human. But you've become a monster. The word hit harder than her slap had. Monster. Was that what I'd become? I didn't break into his house, I said quietly. Then who did? I don't know. But someone wants me to take the fall for it. She was silent for a moment. Then, maybe it's karma, Jack. Maybe this is the universe telling you to stop. Or maybe it's you trying to save yourself. Believe what you want. I didn't break into Owen's house. I haven't talked to him since everything came out. I'm just trying to survive what you did to me. I hung up, sat in the dark, thinking. If not Megan, then who? Harris himself? Creating evidence of harassment to deflect from his own crimes? Possible. The man was desperate, facing criminal charges, trying to save what was left of his reputation. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. We need to talk. About your investigation. Meet me at Luna Coffee, 8 p.m. Come alone. Nina. Nina Clark. The name from my past. Childhood friend who'd moved away 20 years ago, before life got complicated. Before Megan. Before any of this. I'd looked her up recently during my sleepless research nights. Found her living back in the city, working as a data analyst for a tech company. I'd considered reaching out, but never had. Too busy with revenge. So how did she know about any of this? Red flag. Obvious trap. Smart move. Ignore it. I arrived at Luna Coffee at 7:45 p.m. Nina sat in the back corner, exactly as I remembered her, from childhood but grown up. Dark hair pulled back, sharp eyes that missed nothing, that slight smile that made you wonder if she knew secrets you didn't. She probably did. Jack Davis, she said as I approached. You look terrible. Thanks, you look exactly the same. Liar. But I appreciate it. She gestured to the empty chair across from her. Sit. I sat, keeping my guard up. How did you know about my investigation? I'm a data analyst, Jack. I track patterns for a living. When someone starts systematically destroying multiple people's lives across digital platforms, it leaves fingerprints. Digital ones. So, you tracked me down to... what? Turn me in? No. To help you. I laughed. Why would you help me? Because I remember what it's like to be betrayed by someone you trust, and because whoever broke into Harris's house is trying to set you up, and you need someone on your side who actually knows what they're doing. I work alone. That's working great for you so far. She slid a folder across the table. Look inside. I opened it. Security camera footage, time-stamped from October 15. Showed a figure in dark clothes entering Harris's house through a side window. The quality was decent enough to show it was a woman, average height, moving carefully. Who is that? Linda Harris, the doctor's soon-to-be ex-wife, stared at the image. His wife vandalized her own house? Not her house. His house. They'd already separated by then, and yes, she did. She wanted evidence of harassment against her husband to use in the divorce proceedings, make herself look more sympathetic, secure a better settlement. Nothing says, I deserve everything, like being married to a man who was both a cheater and someone so terrible he drove a betrayed husband to criminal acts. That's twisted. That's divorce court. Everything's a weapon. Nina leaned back. She hired someone to help her, small-time criminal who does odd jobs for cash. I have his name too, if you want it. How did you get all this? I told you. I'm good at tracking digital patterns. Security, cameras, upload to cloud storage. Cloud storage is never as secure as people think. Linda's camera system was laughably easy to access. I studied Nina's face, looking for the angle. There was always an angle. Why do you really care about helping me? She was quiet for a moment, that slight smile fading. My husband cheated on me 3 years ago with my sister. When I found out, I wanted to burn everything down, destroy them both. But I didn't. I took the high road, forgave them, tried to be the bigger person. You know what happened? What? They got married. 6 months after my divorce was final. Had a baby together. They post pictures on social media about how happy they are, how grateful they are that I understood and didn't make things difficult. Meanwhile, I'm alone in a studio apartment with a cat named Vengeance. Vengeance? Seemed appropriate at the time. She smiled, but it was bitter. I took the high road, Jack. It leads nowhere. Forgiveness doesn't bring peace. It just gives the people who hurt you permission to forget you existed while they move on with their lives. So you want revenge by proxy? I want to see someone actually get justice for once, and if that means helping you finish what you started, I'm willing. I looked at the footage again. If I give this to the police, Linda Harris gets arrested. She broke the law, hired someone to commit vandalism and frame you for it. Actions have consequences. And the police will stop investigating me? Most likely. They'll have their perpetrator. Case closed. You're off the hook. It made sense. Too much sense. Which meant there was still a catch. What do you want in return? Nina's smile turned genuine but cold. Help me ruin my ex-husband and sister. You've proven quite talented at it. There it was. The real agenda. I'm not a mercenary, Nina. Aren't you? You've destroyed 5 people in 3 weeks. What's 2 more? Those people wronged me. They earned what happened. And my ex didn't wrong me? My sister didn't betray me? She was my maid of honor, Jack. She stood beside me at my wedding, promised to always support me, then slept with my husband 6 months later. If that's not worthy of consequences, what is? I couldn't answer that. The rationalization fell apart under scrutiny. What made my revenge justified and hers not? Think about it, Nina said, standing. Meanwhile, take the footage to the police, clear your name, then decide if you want help finishing what you started with your wife. Because this? She gestured at the folder. This is just the beginning of what I can help you do. She left before I could respond, dropping a business card on the table, her number, her email, and a handwritten note. Call me when you're ready to win. I sat there with the folder, the evidence of my innocence, wondering when exactly I'd crossed the line from victim to villain. The answer came easily. The moment I decided revenge mattered more than redemption. I gave the footage to Detective Morrison the next morning. She was skeptical at first, studying the video with narrowed eyes, looking for signs of manipulation. Where did you get this? Anonymous source. That's convenient. Check the timestamp. Check the metadata. It's legitimate. She did. Spent 20 minutes on her computer, running the file through verification software. Finally looked up at me. It checks out. This is from Linda Harris's security system. So, I'm clear? For the vandalism, yes, but Mr. Davis, this doesn't change the fact that someone with extensive computer knowledge leaked Dr. Harris's private information, filed anonymous complaints, and orchestrated his professional downfall. Someone who had motive and means. Prove it was me. I don't have to prove it. I just have to make sure you understand that we're watching. Whatever you're doing, it stops now. I haven't done anything illegal. Keep it that way. She let me go. Linda Harris was arrested that afternoon. The news covered it extensively. The doctor's wife, so desperate for divorce leverage that she'd committed crimes. It would have been poetic if it wasn't so pathetic. Megan called me that evening. You're off the hook? Just like that? Turns out I was telling the truth, Megan. Novel concept. This isn't over, Jack. The divorce, the settlements, all of it. I'm fighting you on everything. With what lawyer? You can't afford one. Your reputation is destroyed, you lost your job, and you have no grounds to stand on. I'll represent myself if I have to. Good luck with that. She hung up. I should have felt victorious. Should have celebrated being cleared of criminal charges. Instead, I just felt tired. Nina called an hour later. I heard the news. You're officially not a criminal. Congratulations. Thanks for the evidence. You're welcome. So, have you thought about my offer? I'm not helping you destroy your ex and sister. Why not? You've already crossed every line that matters. What's 2 more targets? Because they didn't do anything to me. So your moral line is personal grievance. You'll destroy anyone who wrongs you, but strangers are off limits. Something like that. She laughed. That's not morality, Jack. That's just selective cruelty. Maybe, but it's my line. Fine. Then let me help you finish what you started with Megan. No payment required. Just let me watch someone actually get what they deserve for once. I should have said no. Should have recognized that Nina was dangerous, that her interest in my revenge was unhealthy, that involving her would only make things worse. But I was tired of doing everything alone, tired of being the only one who cared about justice. What did you have in mind? I asked. The hospital gala is in 2 weeks. St. Mary's annual fundraiser. Megan will be there. She never misses networking opportunities. And despite everything, Dr. Harris will probably attend too. His lawyer advised him to maintain appearances. So? So it's perfect. Public venue, controlled environment, lots of witnesses. You could expose everything there. Make sure everyone knows exactly what they did. That's theatrical. Not my style. Your style has been remarkably theatrical so far, Jack. Don't pretend you're above a grand finale. She had a point. Everything I'd done had been carefully orchestrated for maximum impact. Why stop now? What exactly are you proposing? A presentation, a multimedia expose, photos, documents, testimonies, everything you've compiled, presented in a way that no one can ignore or dismiss. Make it impossible for them to recover. That's public humiliation. That's justice. They humiliated you privately for years. Turnabout is fair play. I thought about it. The gala would be full of people from Megan's professional circles, people who might not have heard about the divorce or the allegations, people who still thought she was the perfect, successful businesswoman she pretended to be. One presentation could destroy that illusion permanently. I'll think about it, I said. You'll do it, Nina replied, because you've come this far, and people like us don't stop until it's finished. She was right. God help me, she was right. The next 2 weeks were a blur of preparation. Nina proved invaluable. She knew how to compile information into compelling presentations, how to tell a story through data, how to make evidence irrefutable. We worked in my apartment, spreading materials across every surface, photos arranged chronologically, financial records showing embezzlement, text messages demonstrating premeditation, email chains proving conspiracy. This is good, Nina said, studying our work, but it needs more emotional impact. People respond to stories, not just facts. What do you suggest? Context. Show them who you were before all this. The devoted husband, the loyal friend, the man who trusted the wrong people. Then show them what they did to you. Make it personal. I don't want to be the victim in this story. You're not. You're the protagonist. There's a difference. She helped me record audio narration, keeping my voice steady and factual. No emotion, just cold recitation of facts. Somehow, that made it more devastating than anger would have been. We built the presentation in 3 acts. Act 1, the marriage. Photos of Megan and me from happier times, our wedding, anniversaries, the life we'd built together. Act 2, the betrayal. Evidence of the affairs, the lies, the systematic deception. Act 3, the conspiracy. Proof that others had known and helped cover it up. The finale was a video compilation, security footage of Megan entering hotels with various men, time-stamped and dated. We blurred faces to protect privacy, but left hers clearly visible. No one would be able to claim mistaken identity or manipulation. This will destroy her completely, Nina said, reviewing the final product. You understand that, right? After this, she'll never work in her field again. Never be able to rebuild her reputation. This is permanent. Good. No hesitation? She destroyed me first. I'm just returning the favor. Nina studied my face. You've changed since I first reached out. You're colder now. More certain. Is that a problem? No, just an observation. The Jack Davis I remembered from childhood was kind. Gentle, even. This version of you is something else. Which version do you prefer? She smiled. The one who wins. Victor called me the day before the gala. I'd been avoiding his calls, but he was persistent. Jack, I heard about the hospital gala tomorrow night. News travels fast. Don't do whatever you're planning. I'm not planning anything. Don't lie to me. I know you. I know how your mind works. You're going to do something public and destructive, and it's going to blow up in your face. Or it's going to work exactly as planned. And then what? You think destroying Megan publicly will make you feel better? It won't. It'll just make you feel empty. I already feel empty, Victor. At least this way I'll have earned it. He was quiet for a moment. I can't stop you, can I? No. Then I'll be there. At the gala. Not to support what you're doing, but to pick up the pieces when it falls apart. It won't fall apart. Everything falls apart eventually, Jack. That's life. He hung up. I stared at my phone, his words echoing in my head. Everything falls apart, eventually. Maybe. But first, I'd make sure Megan fell apart faster. The St. Mary's Hospital Gala was everything I expected. Excessive, pretentious, full of wealthy people congratulating themselves for their charity. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across marble floors. A string quartet played something classical and forgettable. Women wore gowns that cost more than my car. Men wore tuxedos and superiority. I wore my wedding suit. Seemed appropriate somehow. Megan arrived at 8:15, fashionably late as always. She'd brought a date. Some banker named Richard with silver hair and an expensive watch. She'd moved on quickly, probably already sleeping with him. Old habits. Dr. Harris stood near the bar, surrounded by colleagues offering performative support. His suspension had generated sympathy in certain circles. Poor doctor, falsely accused by a jealous husband. He'd managed to partially rehabilitate his image, claimed the allegations were exaggerated, that his ex-wife had fabricated evidence. The narrative had shifted without my consent. Tonight, I'd shift it back. I found the AV booth tucked behind the stage. The technician was young, maybe 25, more interested in his phone than his job. I need you to play this during the auction, I said, handing him a flash drive. Right before the bidding starts. It's a presentation about hospital donors. He barely looked at it. Who authorized this? Dr. Elizabeth Brennan. I'd researched the hospital's administration. Brennan was in charge of fundraising, notorious for last-minute changes. She sent me to make sure you got it. She didn't tell me about any presentation. I pulled out $500 in cash. She probably forgot. She's been very busy. This should cover any inconvenience. He pocketed the money. What's on it? Just donor recognition. 3 minutes, maybe 4. Play it right before the auction starts. Dr. Brennan was very specific about the timing. He shrugged. Ethics weren't his concern. I took a champagne flute from a passing waiter, wouldn't drink it but needed to blend in, and positioned myself where I could see both the main screen and the exits. Waited. Nina appeared at my elbow wearing a black cocktail dress that somehow made her look both elegant and dangerous. Ready? She asked. No going back now. Good. Uncertainty is weakness. The auction began at 9 p.m., The auctioneer took his position, started his patter about the importance of charitable giving. The screen flickered to life behind him. My voice filled the room, calm and clinical. Good evening. Tonight, we gather to support St. Mary's Hospital, an institution built on trust, healing, and ethical medical care. But some among us have violated that trust in ways that demand exposure. The first image appeared, Dr. Harris with a patient in a hotel lobby, time-stamped, location listed. The room went silent. All conversation stopped. Everyone turned toward the screen. Dr. Owen Harris has engaged in relationships with at least 8 patients over 5 years, violating medical ethics and state law. More photos. Harris with different women. Meeting times cross-referenced with medical appointments. The pattern impossible to deny. He has also accepted kickbacks totaling over $200,000 from pharmaceutical companies, falsified insurance claims, and provided controlled substances to non-patients. Financial records appeared, bank statements showing deposits from pharmaceutical companies, falsified medical records, highlighted to show alterations. Harris's face went white. He started toward the stage, but security moved to intercept him. They thought he was drunk or disruptive, didn't realize he was the subject of the exposé. My voice continued, relentless. But Dr. Harris didn't act alone. He was enabled by others who knew about his behavior and chose silence over ethics. The presentation shifted focus. Megan Davis, senior consultant at Morrison Financial Group, facilitated many of these encounters. She also engaged in insurance fraud, embezzling over $50,000 from her employer, and conducted multiple affairs with colleagues, some present tonight. Photos of Megan, with Harris, with Michael from her office, with David from the gym, receipts from hotel rooms charged to her corporate card, emails discussing moving money between accounts to hide embezzlement. The screen showed a video clip, restaurant security footage, where Megan and Sarah laughed about stupid Jack, never figuring out what was happening. Audio enhanced, their words crystal clear. Megan's face appeared in close-up, her voice, "He's completely clueless. I could bring someone home, and he probably wouldn't even notice." Laughter from her friends. The room erupted, not in outrage, not yet. In shocked whispers, gasps, the sudden electric realization that they were witnessing reputations destroyed in real time. The presentation continued with methodical precision. Every affair documented, every lie exposed, every person who'd helped cover it up named and shown. Sarah Mitchell, providing alibis. Michael Chen, creating false expense reports. David Porter, arranging hotel rooms. A conspiracy of ordinary cruelty. The final segment was the most damaging. Financial analysis showing how Megan had systematically stolen from her employer, her clients, even her own mother. Small amounts over years, adding up to over $100,000. "These are not mistakes," my recorded voice said. "These are choices. Deliberate, calculated choices to betray trust, violate ethics, and hurt people who believed in them. They deserve to face consequences. Tonight, you've seen the truth. What you do with that truth is up to you." The screen went dark. The lights came up. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. Then, someone started clapping, slowly at first. Others joined. Within seconds, half the room was applauding. Not for Megan or Harris, but for the exposure. For someone finally holding powerful people accountable. The other half looked horrified. Megan ran. Actually ran in her expensive heels, pushing through the crowd toward the exit. Dropped her clutch purse, kept running. Her date followed, confused, trying to catch up. Dr. Harris stood frozen, surrounded by former colleagues who now regarded him with disgust and betrayal. Someone shouted something accusatory. Someone else joined in. Within seconds, he was surrounded by angry voices. Security moved in, not to protect him, but to escort him out before the situation escalated further. I set down my untouched champagne and walked toward the exit. No dramatic speech, no final confrontation. Just left. Nina caught up with me in the parking lot. "That was perfect," she said, eyes bright with excitement. "Did you see their faces? You destroyed them completely." "Yes. You should feel triumphant." "Should I?" She studied my expression. "You don't, do you? You don't feel anything." "No, I don't. That's normal. Post-revenge letdown. It'll pass. Give it time." But I knew it wouldn't pass. This emptiness wasn't temporary. It was the new normal. I got in my car and drove home, leaving Nina standing in the parking lot, probably planning her next move, her next target. I was done with all of it. The fallout was immediate and comprehensive. Videos of the presentation appeared on social media within hours. Dozens of people had recorded it on their phones. By morning, it was everywhere. Local news, Twitter, Reddit. Even some national outlets picked it up as a story about medical ethics and corporate corruption. Dr. Harris was arrested again. The new evidence, presented so publicly, forced the district attorney to file additional charges. His medical license was permanently revoked. The civil suits multiplied. Former patients, the hospital, pharmaceutical companies desperate to distance themselves. Megan's firm fired her before she even returned to work. They issued a statement about zero tolerance for ethical violations, conducted an internal investigation, found more evidence of embezzlement she'd hidden. They referred her case to the police. She was arrested 3 days after the gala. Michael Chen, David Porter, Sarah Mitchell all faced professional consequences. Some fired, some sued by their employers, all publicly humiliated. The story dominated local news for a week. Reporters called my phone constantly. I didn't answer, didn't give interviews, didn't want credit or attention. I just wanted it to be over. Erica showed up at my apartment 4 days after the gala. I'd taken more sick days, couldn't face the office, couldn't face the looks and whispers and judgment. "Let me in, Jack." I opened the door. She looked around at the mess. I'd stopped cleaning, stopped caring about basic maintenance. Dishes piled in the sink, laundry everywhere, evidence of a life falling apart. "You look worse than before," she said. "I didn't think that was possible. Thanks for your concern. I saw the video, everyone did." "Good. Was it worth it?" The question hung between us. Was it worth it? The months of planning, the energy spent on revenge, the relationships destroyed, the person I'd become? "Yes," I said automatically. "She deserved it." "Maybe. But did you deserve what it cost you?" "What did it cost me?" Erica looked at me like I was being deliberately dense. "Your humanity, Jack. You used to be kind, funny, someone people wanted to be around, someone I enjoyed working with. Now, you're just angry. All the time. Even when you're not talking about Megan or Harris, you're angry. It's like anger is all you have left. They made me this way. No, you chose this. Every step, every decision, every piece of revenge. You chose it. No one forced you to become this person. What was I supposed to do? Forgive her? Move on like nothing happened? Pretend 15 years of marriage and betrayal didn't matter? Yes, exactly that. Because this? She gestured around the apartment. At me. At the wreckage of my life. This isn't living. It's a slow destruction while you tell yourself you've won. You got revenge, Jack. Congratulations. And now you're alone in a filthy apartment, unemployed because you've missed so much work with no friends because you've pushed everyone away and no future because you've burned every bridge that mattered. Was it worth it? Get out. Jack, get out. If you came here to lecture me, you can leave. She shook her head sadly. I came here because I cared about you. Past tense. I can't care about someone who doesn't care about themselves. She left. The door closed with a soft click, somehow worse than a slam. I sat in the silence and thought about her words, about what I'd become, about whether revenge had actually solved anything or just created more wreckage. The answer was obvious. I just hadn't wanted to see it. My phone rang. Nina. I saw the news. Harris is going to prison. Megan faces criminal charges. You won, Jack, completely and totally. Yeah. You don't sound happy about it. I'm not. Silence. Then, this is just post-victory letdown. It'll pass. You need a new project, something to focus on. My ex and sister are still... No. No? I'm done, Nina. With all of it. Revenge, destruction, all of it. I'm done. You don't mean that. I do. Find someone else to help you. I can't do this anymore. Jack, listen to me. You can't stop now. You've tasted victory. You've seen what you're capable of. Walking away from that power is exactly what I'm doing. Don't call me again. I hung up, blocked her number, blocked everyone's numbers except Victor's. Sat there in the ruins of my apartment, surrounded by evidence of a war I'd won, but that left me with nothing worth having. Victor came by that evening. I'd finally responded to one of his 50 messages, told him where I was, what I'd done. You look like hell, he said, surveying the apartment. Everyone keeps saying that. Because it's true. He moved some laundry off the couch and sat down. The gala video has 3 million views. I know. Harris is going to prison. Megan too, probably. I know. Your revenge is complete. Everything you wanted to happen has happened. I know. So why do you look like someone died? I didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Because the truth was that someone had died. The person I used to be. The kind, trusting, maybe naive Jack Davis who believed in love and loyalty and happy endings. That person was gone. And the person who'd replaced him was a stranger I didn't particularly like. Megan visited me yesterday, Victor said, before she turned herself into the police. That got my attention. What did she want? To tell me she forgives you. For everything. The exposure, the humiliation, all of it. She said she deserved it and hopes you can find peace now that you've gotten your revenge. How magnanimous of her. She also said something else. She said the old Jack Davis, the one she married, wouldn't have done any of this. He would have been hurt, yes, furious, absolutely, but he wouldn't have burned everything down. She said she hopes you can find that person again, because the person you've become will destroy you from the inside. She doesn't get to tell me who I am. No, but she's right. You've won every battle, Jack, destroyed everyone who hurt you, but you've lost the war. What war? The war for your soul. The war to remain a decent human being. You sacrificed who you were to punish who they were, and now you're left with nothing. I wanted to argue, wanted to tell him he was wrong, that I was fine, that revenge had been worth it. But the words wouldn't come. I don't know how to come back from this, I said quietly. I don't know if you can, but you have to try. Get therapy. Actually process what happened instead of just destroying things. Talk to someone professional who can help you understand why you went so far. What if I don't want to come back? What if this is who I am now? Then you'll end up alone, bitter, and destroyed by your own anger. Is that what you want? I don't know what I want anymore. Victor stood, put a hand on my shoulder. Figure it out, before it's too late. Because I can't watch you self-destruct, Jack. I can't lose another friend to their own demons. He left me with that thought. I sat alone in my apartment, truly alone, acknowledging what that meant, and thought about the last 6 months, about the person I'd been versus the person I'd become, about whether revenge had actually made anything better or just created more destruction. 3 days later, I went to see Detective Morrison at the police station. She looked surprised when I walked in. "Mr. Davis, I thought we were done with each other." "We are. I'm not here about any investigation. I'm here to confess." She sat up straighter, suddenly alert. "Confess to what?" "Everything. I'm the one who leaked Dr. Harris's information to the press, who hacked his accounts, who filed anonymous complaints, who orchestrated his professional destruction. I did all of it." Morrison studied me carefully. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because I need to take responsibility for what I did. I justified it as justice, but it was just revenge. Cruel, calculated revenge. And I need to own that. Do you understand that what you're describing could constitute multiple crimes? Computer crimes, harassment, conspiracy, possibly more depending on how the DA wants to charge it." "A." "Yes." "And you're still confessing?" "Yes." She was quiet for a long moment, thinking. Then, "Mr. Davis, I'm not going to arrest you." "Why not?" "Because Dr. Harris broke more laws than you did. His medical license is revoked. He's facing 20 years in prison for what he did to his patients, and frankly, he brought most of it on himself. What you did was legally questionable and definitely unethical, but it also exposed genuine corruption and prevented him from hurting more people." "That doesn't make it right." "No, it doesn't. But I'm a practical person. Arresting you serves no purpose except revenge on my part, and I've seen where that leads." She gestured at me. "I'm looking at where it leads." The irony wasn't lost on me. "So that's it? I just walk away?" "You walk away. But Mr. Davis, get help, professional help, because whatever you're doing to yourself right now, this self-destructive spiral, is worse than anything a court could do to you. Prison sentences end. What you're putting yourself through could last forever." I thanked her and left, feeling simultaneously relieved and disappointed. Part of me had wanted punishment, wanted someone to hold me accountable, wanted to pay for what I'd done. That afternoon, I called a therapist, made an appointment for the following week, started the long, difficult process of trying to understand why I'd done what I'd done and who I'd become in the process. It wasn't redemption, wasn't forgiveness, wasn't healing, just acknowledgement, just the first tiny, terrifying step toward maybe, eventually, becoming someone I could live with. Megan showed up at my apartment unannounced 2 weeks later, the day before her court appearance. She'd lost weight, wore no makeup, looked 10 years older. The put-together businesswoman was gone, replaced by someone broken and uncertain. "We need to talk," she said. "No, we don't." "Please, Jack, just 5 minutes. Then I'll leave and you'll never have to see me again." Against my better judgment, or maybe because I needed closure too, I let her in. She sat on the couch where we'd watched 1,000 movies together, back when we were still us, back when I thought I knew her. "I'm going to prison," she said. "My lawyer thinks I'll get 3 to 5 years for the embezzlement. Maybe more, if they add other charges." "I know. I deserved what you did to me. I know that. I hurt you, betrayed you, and you had every right to be angry, every right to want revenge. Is this an apology?" "No. Because I'm not sorry I left. I'm sorry I cheated, sorry I lied, sorry I stole. But I'm not sorry our marriage ended. He's gone, Jack. We both know it. That's not true." "Yes, it is. We'd been going through the motions for years. No passion, no connection, just routine and obligation. I was miserable. You were miserable. We were just too afraid to admit it and do something about it. I wanted to argue, but couldn't. She was right. We'd been roommates, pretending to be spouses for at least 3 years before she started cheating. Maybe longer. "That doesn't excuse what you did," I said. "No, it doesn't. But it also doesn't excuse what you did. You didn't just expose my affair, Jack. You systematically destroyed my entire life. My career, my friendships, my reputation, my freedom, gone. All of it. Was that proportional? Was that justice? You cheated with multiple men. For years. You stole money. You made me look like a fool. And you ruined me. Completely. Made it impossible for me to work, to live normally, to have any kind of future. You made sure I'll spend years in prison, Jack, so I guess we're even. We're not even. No. You're right. You won. Congratulations. She stood, moved toward the door. I came here to tell you that I forgive you. For everything. The exposure, the humiliation, the destruction, all of this. Because if we hold on to this anger, it will destroy us both. And I'm choosing to let it go. How noble. I'm serious. I forgive you, Jack. Not for your sake, for mine. So I can move forward without carrying this hatred. And I hope someday you'll forgive me too. Not because I deserve it, but because you deserve to let go of what I did to you. She paused at the door, hand on the knob. You were a good man once. Kind, funny, someone who saw the best in people. I hope you can find that person again. Because this bitter, angry version of you, he's going to die alone with nothing but his revenge to keep him company. Then she was gone. I stood in my empty apartment, her words echoing in my head. Forgiveness. As if that solved anything. As if I could just decide to stop being angry and everything would be fine. But what if she was right? What if the only person I was still hurting was myself? I didn't sleep that night. Just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything that had happened, about who I'd been and who I'd become, about whether any of it had been worth the cost. In the morning, I made a decision. I called my boss, told him I was resigning. He didn't seem surprised. I'd become unreliable, unpredictable, someone who brought drama to a workplace that valued stability. I sold the apartment. Too many memories, too much history. Needed a fresh start somewhere that didn't remind me of Megan or the person I'd been when we were together. I donated most of my possessions to charity, kept only what fit in my car. Everything else, furniture, clothes, books, 15 years of accumulated life, went to people who needed it more than I did. Victor helped me pack on my last day in the city. Boston, huh? He said, taping a box. Fresh start. Think it'll work? Probably not. But I have to try. What will you do there? I don't know. Find a job. Find a therapist. Try to figure out who I am when I'm not consumed by revenge. He smiled, sadly. That's the first sensible thing you've said in months. We loaded the last box into my car. Victor hugged me, hard and fierce, like he wasn't sure he'd see me again. Take care of yourself, Jack, and if you need anything, I know. Thanks. For everything. For not giving up on me even when you should have. That's what friends do. I drove away, watching the city disappear in my rearview mirror. Everything I'd built and destroyed and become faded into distance. The highway stretched ahead, empty and promising nothing. Just miles of pavement leading to somewhere new, somewhere I could maybe start over. I turned on the radio, found a station playing something upbeat and meaningless, and drove toward whatever came next. The revenge was over, the destruction complete. What remained was just living, the hardest part of all. I'd won the war against everyone who'd hurt me. Now, I had to figure out how to stop fighting myself. 3 months later, I stood outside a coffee shop in Boston, not going in, just standing there, looking at my reflection in the window, trying to recognize the person staring back. Therapy was helping. Slowly. Some days were better than others. My therapist, Dr. Reeves, said I was making progress. Said understanding why I'd done what I'd done was the first step toward becoming someone better. I'd found a job, nothing special, data entry at a small firm, but it was honest work, and no one there knew about my past. I could be anonymous, normal, just another person trying to get through the day. My phone buzzed. Text from Victor. "How's Boston treating you?" Still here, still trying. That's all anyone can do. I put my phone away and finally went into the coffee shop, ordered something complicated with too many adjectives, sat by the window and watched people pass by, all of them carrying their own stories, their own pain, their own choices. Somewhere, Megan was in prison, serving her sentence, paying for her crimes. I didn't feel good about that. Didn't feel bad either. Just felt neutral, like it was a fact that existed separately from my emotions. Dr. Harris was in prison too, 20 years for what he'd done to his patients. That one I felt okay about. Not good exactly, but okay. Nina had tried to contact me a few times through different numbers. I blocked them all. She was looking for someone to fuel her own revenge fantasies, and I couldn't be that person anymore. I was done with revenge, done with destruction, done with letting anger consume everything good that remained. Instead, I was trying something radical, living. Just simple, ordinary living, working, eating, sleeping, going to therapy, making small talk with neighbors, building a life that wasn't defined by what had been done to me or what I'd done in response. Some days were hard, days when I thought about Megan and felt the anger rise again. Days when I wanted to check social media, see what was happening to everyone I'd destroyed, feel that cold satisfaction one more time. But I didn't, because I'd learned something important in therapy. Revenge doesn't heal wounds. It just creates new ones. And I'd created enough wounds to last a lifetime.